Hello, greetings, and salutations. Welcome aboard my podcast. I am Jason with Jay's Paradise Travels. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode. Recently, I had asked a poll question on one of my episodes, and I allowed some time to pass to see how the response would be to that poll question. And the poll question was when talking about my sports podcasts, or I should say the podcasts of when I went to a sports game, because that is also something that I do. Should I bundle it up with the trips that I've taken, which could include different teams from different cities, or should I talk about the teams within a certain city or state? And I left it up to you guys to see which one should I do. And I let some time pass to see how it would go. And there was a lead for one over the other. Let time go even some more. And it ended up being a pretty overwhelming victory for the one side. So that's what I'm going to do. Today's episode, I'm going to talk about teams from the Tampa Bay area. So, in my hobby, just to kind of clarify, I go to see MLB, Major League Baseball, NBA, NHL, NFL, as well as college football. For a while there with college football, I did all teams that were in what used to be Division 1A. Now it's called FBS, Full Bowl Series. Since then, I've kind of limited it because it's so many teams to see, and teams were coming in and out from conferences and lower levels and things like that. So now I've just kind of condensed it to seeing just what's called the Power Five. And even that, I'm not sure if that's going to still remain as time goes on, as the landscape of college football has definitely shifted and been a little different. It's going to be different going forward. So with that said, it'll be mainly the big teams. However, there were smaller teams that I had seen before, and some of them will be mentioned as well. In today's episode with Tampa Bay, out of those five different sport leagues that I go see, they have teams in four of them. They have the Tampa Bay Rays in Major League Baseball, they have the Buccaneers in the NFL, they've got the Lightning in the NHL, and they've got the South Florida Bulls that's in college football that also share a stadium with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We'll be talking about those teams today. The first one I'm going to start with is the Tampa Bay Rays. It is actually the most recent game that I saw up to this recording. As time goes on, I'll probably see other teams, but as of right now, as of this recording here in July of 2024, it is the most recent one that I've seen, and it was a game that I saw right after the Margaritaville at Sea cruise that me and my wife went on. I did my most recent podcast on Margaritaville at Sea. It was about a 5 day long cruise. I talked about it, all the experiences on that. When we got back in port from there and we ported out of Tampa Bay, that evening we went to go see the Tampa Bay Rays. It was well, it's interesting. They're called the Tampa Bay Rays, but more so they're in St. Pete. Now were staying with a friend at the time, and this friend picked us up from the airport. He took us to the cruise ship, picked us up from there, and actually took us to the game, which was really nice. He was an extremely nice friend, very generous with his time. We really appreciate him a lot. So we didn't have to like park, have to deal with parking to see how that would be. We just were able to be dropped off. I had the brilliant idea of going up to the game and just buying tickets at the box office. I say a brilliant idea because I thought that should be an easy thing to do. I've done that before in the past. It's kind of a staple pretty much everywhere. Go up to the game, go to the box office, get a ticket. Boy, was I mistaken. One of the things I did not care for going to this game, I went up there with full intentions of doing that, and I get up there. They basically are like, no, we don't have a box office anymore. You got to buy it on your phone. They had a one of those billboard type of things that were on the ground, and it had a QR code that you could scan in order to get the tickets from there. It would take you to like the Major League Baseball website or Ticketmaster or whatever website that they use. There's plenty of websites to get tickets. Um, and I was kind of hoping not to have to do that. I really wanted to just go up to the box office, buy a ticket there. Specifically, one of the reasons is because usually when you get a ticket at the box office, you actually get a ticket. That's something that's becoming obsolete nowadays. and it kind of disappoints me because I have um, like a little photo album book, I guess you could say, of tickets. And and more recently, you're able to only do them on your phone or get them. You don't get a hard copy ticket anymore. So what I have to do is actually take a picture of like a screenshot and then go print it out at CVS and then put it in my album. So I was hoping to just go up to the box office, get the ticket, and then be able to have a ticket and also not have to deal with online stuff and getting on my phone. Nope, couldn't do that. Uh, they don't do that anymore. So annoying. So had to go on there. Now for younger people and everyone that's obsessed with their phones, I'm sure that's no big deal. I'm not obsessed with my phone. I can handle my phone. I use my phone. I do things with my phone. I'm not obsessed with it. Um, so I didn't really want to do that. I really wanted that hard ticket. Couldn't do it. Had to go on there. And usually whenever you go online to do things like that with those other websites, you always have to pay additional fees, which again is kind of annoying because I want to go to the box office. Usually, if you go to the box office, there's no additional fees. Not that I can recall, anyways. So I had to pay additional fees on top of it. Plus, I'll be honest, it was a little bit more than what I anticipated spending. I thought the price of it that I looked at initially was just for two tickets. It was just for one, so it was even double that plus fee. So it ended up being a lot more expensive than I wanted to see, especially for a game that was not a high scoring game. I'll get to that in a bit. Whatever, I do that. I bite the bullet because I'm here. I want to see the game. I got to pay for it. Paid for it, and then went across the street. Again, we were dropped off. Now, in my hobby of taking pictures of stadiums, because that's part of the hobby, I like to take outside shots of the arena or the stadium, the building, as well as inside pictures of of the actual game itself, and even sometimes the audience, maybe banners, things like that. Whatever. I try to take a variety of different pictures, and a lot of times everything is, unique to that team. One thing with Tropicana Field I thought was kind of unique was the way that the building, a ton of cement, right? Just probably more cement than I've ever seen at a at a stadium, especially a baseball stadium. It's an indoor stadium. It is a dome, which is actually nice because it's very warm and muggy down there in Florida. Um, so there's a dome, but it the way that the design is, it kind of looks like it's slanted, and it's not. But the way that they have the design of the dome is kind of like at an angle, so it kind of makes it look like it's slanted. I thought that was kind of unique, very unique indeed. Um, Kind of a cool design with that. Aside from that, like I said, a lot of cement, probably more cement than I've seen on most other stadiums. Aside from maybe like when I was growing up, I went to Pontiac Silverdome. That had a ton too. Anyways, so we get inside, and I thought it was kind of nice that they had. So they sell slushies there. I think they're slushies. I don't think they were daiquiris. They had that kind of consistency, but I don't think there was alcohol in it. Maybe there was, but they had like little samples of it. They had a blue one and a red one. I took a little sample. Selena took a little sample, and they're pretty tasty. Later on, as I was walking by one of the vendors, because they had someone out there with them, and then they also had like the vendor stand with some others. So I took another one, and that I think was mango, the one that I tried. They were really good. Never bought them. Thankfully, my friend had got some pizza for us before we came to the game, which I am very grateful for because already the tickets ended up being more than I had wanted to spend for it. And if I had to buy stadium food for dinner on top of that, oh boy, that would have been really annoying. So I'm really glad he got some pizza before we came. So we weren't exactly hungry, didn't necessarily get anything, but sampling the little slushies, or if they were daiquiris, whatever they were, pretty tasty. And I did see a vendor going up and down the stairs trying to sell them later on in the game. So if you're there, if you ever are there, try them. They're actually they're pretty good. Feel free to. And if you do want to go, let me know. j.paradise.travels at gmail.com. You can reach out to me or look me up on Jay's Paradise Travels on either Instagram or Facebook, and I'll be happy to help you with this or any of the other stadiums. All right, so moving on, we get there, try that. We're walking towards our seats. We actually get first baseline on the first deck, and when I was looking around, um, We were a little bit closer towards. I mean, we were out in the outfield of the first base line, not far from actually, um, we were right field and where the home run would be. I was looking around and I noticed that nobody was in the top deck, the third deck. That was the first time I'd ever gone to a game that had nobody in one of the decks. I mean, usually they have everything open, and even if it's not a lot of people at the game, they might have scattered people just sitting up by themselves. You usually see that, but they must have just closed it down. There was absolutely nobody on the third deck. Never had seen that before. They had everyone on decks one, where we were at, the main deck, and in deck two, but nothing in deck three. Thought that was kind of unique. Um, the game was not the greatest game in the world. No home runs. That was, kind of sad. And it was only just a 2-0 score. Tampa Bay won. They were playing the Cleveland Guardians of the Galaxies, as I like to call them. They're just the Cleveland Guardians. They used to be the Cleveland Indians. They rechanged their name some years ago. I can't remember how long ago exactly. Now they're the Cleveland Guardians. I just joke, Cleveland Guardians of the Galaxy. Just a 2-0 victory. Um, I mean, one run in the third inning, one run in the fifth. Both of them were like singles that brought somebody in. I mean, it wasn't highly exciting, especially for the the extra money that I put into it. I was hoping that get a little bit more an exciting game, especially since the last one that we had went to, which was an 11-4 game. There was 8 runs in the first 2 innings. That was very exciting. That's okay though. The pitcher did really well. I think altogether, the Tampa Bay Rays pitchers got a total of like 9 strikeouts, 9, 10 strikeouts, and I could see them, in my distance. They were keeping them, tallied up. Um, After they hit, I think the ninth one, I believe it was. At that point, everyone won like a free taco and uh, chips and salsa from one of the local restaurants. I can't remember the restaurant's name. Sadly, we didn't stick around long enough to be able to get it because we left the very next morning. I don't know if it was something that you could have done that night. Maybe I couldn't hear all the details of that reward. I've been to games in the past. In the past year, I think I've been to quite a few that whatever the promo was, if the team got a certain amount of hits or runs or strikeouts or whatever it was, that if they did that, then you show your ticket at a restaurant and you got some free food. I've been a part of that a few times now, and each time it was like it's the next day that they're going to honor it, and we're not there the next day. We're gone. And whether or not that was the case with this or not, I don't know. It could have been that evening we could have gone, but when our friend picked us up, um, I didn't even I didn't even remember it, and he ended up driving us around St. Pete. Again, the stadium is more so, I believe, in St. Petersburg. I don't think it's in Tampa Bay, if I'm correct on that. He took us around the city, and it was nice to be able to see it. They built it up, um, pretty well-to-do area where he took us, so that was nice. Um, we never got to have the food, but as they were tallying the strikeouts, the pitchers combined, I believe, had like around 10. So if you are one that likes to have a nice pitcher's duel, or I can appreciate a pitcher's duel. I don't know if it was necessarily pitcher's duel. I mean, there were still some hits. Yeah, Tampa Bay did get some hits. I believe they left like 11 or 12 runners stranded. There was a couple times that bases loaded, one out maybe or something like that, or men on scoring, scoring position with no outs, and they didn't bring the guy home, didn't bring anybody home. Like, come on, are you kidding me with this? And I've never live seen a grand slam, and I had a couple chances. They had bases loaded a couple times. No, nothing. And even those times, I'm not even sure if they actually even got the run in. If I remember correctly, I think the 2 runs that they had come in weren't even bases loaded. May have been, but I don't believe it was. So no home runs. It was nice though that we got the free shirts. I'm wearing it right now. It was. I'm going to feel bad if I mispronounce this gentleman's name, Randy Arozarena. is I believe if I mispronounce that, I apologize. If any Rays fans are listening, or if this baseball player is listening, I doubt he's listening to my podcast, but if he is, I apologize if I mispronounce the name. My last name's Giannakopoulos. Everyone mispronounce it. I don't take offense to it. Hopefully, no one else does if I mispronounce it. Anyways, it was his night, and they had a free shirt giveaway, which was nice because I came in with the Detroit Tigers T-shirt. It's the only baseball shirt I had, my local home team, um, and of course I'm not. They're not Tigers there. They're playing the Cleveland Guardians, who are Tigers division team. So I guess aside from the fact that whenever I go to a stadium, unless they're playing a team from Detroit, I will root for the home team. I will be that team's fan for a day. So for one day, I was a Tampa Bay Ray fan, and since we got the shirt, that was kind of nice. I put that on, got to blend in with the crowd, so I could cheer with them uh, with the Tampa Bay Ray shirt on for the little bit that got to be cheered. 2 runs. That was it. A lot of strikeouts, though. I guess we could cheer that. And a strikeout can be pretty exciting too. So good for him, Randy Rosarina. It's his giveaway. Glad we got the free shirt. Um, just wish we could have. Wish we could have got those tacos. That would have been nice. And you know what? This was kind of interesting. A couple things that were a little unique with it. First time I ever gone to a baseball game and saw cheerleaders. Not like you would see at a football game with pom poms and all that, but they did have maybe four, five, six women that were, down there cheering them on. Um, Never really seen that before at a baseball game, and they had that. And where we were, if you look down by the field, they had a little bit of an open area with a lot of food. I'm sure that in that general area, you had to be had tickets to that particular area to access all that. Um, and then right outside of there on the field, not you know infield, but just on the other side of the foul line, they had their bullpen. And I thought that was kind of interesting because usually bullpens are either behind a wall or behind wherever the someone would hit the home run behind the fence. That's usually kind of where they're in. This one was like just on the field, right there, right by uh, the foul line. And I was thinking about it, like, man, the catcher, the pitcher was pitching towards like um, infield, and the catcher had his back to him, catching the ball, obviously. And I was thinking, if one of those foul balls came screaming at the back of his head, this guy's a goner. But then my wife noticed that there was like, you ever see like along the side, there's like a young guy there that will catch the ball. It's a foul ball, and he'll toss it up into the audience to give to a kid or something. That dude was there with a baseball mitt on, right behind the catcher. And I think he was kind of there to maybe protect him in case a foul ball did come screaming at his head. He could be there to catch it or stop it, kind of protecting him. That's my guess. That's what Selena noticed. So that's my guess. Probably was the case. Yeah, but if not, he's not there. That dude's vulnerable to anything. And we did have a couple foul balls that kind of came our way. One came in really fast. Didn't hit anybody, thank goodness. I think it was like our next section over, kind of bounced up a little bit. Guy got it. He was excited. Nothing where we were, but not far off either. So, again, the Rays won 2-0. That was Tropicana Field. Um, Got to see like an orange Tropicana orange and one of their signs, and not a bad place to visit. I think they are gonna. I think I did hear that eventually they are gonna get a new stadium. So whether or not I think that's not coming into fruition for a little while. So if that does happen, I may have to eventually go back to see the new one. But until that time, I got to see the Tampa Bay Rays, and they were the final team in Tampa to see. They were. I had seen all the rest of them up until then. This was the final one. And the next one I'll talk about is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now we're going back a ways. We're going back over over 10 years ish. Yeah, it was 2013 was the season. Now, in a way, this is going to be kind of a combined trip because that trip we saw the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as well as the South Florida Bulls. However, this combined trip is two teams in the same city, same Stadium, Raymond James Stadium. I remember as a kid watching the Lions play the Buccaneers because years ago when I was younger, they were both in the NFC Central Division. It wasn't the North yet at the time. They were both in the NFC Central Division. Eventually, it got reconfigured, and Tampa Bay got put in the NFC South, and the Lions are in the NFC North. But prior to that, Detroit and Tampa were in the NFC Central Division. I believe that's what it was called. Maybe it was the North. Anyways, they were in the same division together, and I remember watching them. And Tampa Bay's got this pirate ship that's in their stadium. The only stadium I know that has a pirate ship in it. I thought that was pretty cool. So as a young person, before I had a hobby of doing this, I just always thought it was cool to go to games. Um, didn't think about going to games outside of Detroit. That was not on my radar yet. It wasn't until I got older before I made that a hobby. But as a young person, I remember thinking, "Wow, it would be really cool to go see a game there and go sit in that pirate ship." And so years later, as an adult, I got to go to Raymond James Stadium, and I got to see the pirate ship, which was really cool to be able to see with my own eyes. Didn't get to sit in there. I don't know if there's necessarily seats there to sit in. There may be, or it may be that they just use it for maybe it's like people can rent it out for an event. I don't remember. Again, we're going back a ways. I guess I could Google it, I suppose. Um, but I didn't get to sit there. However, the friends I were staying with, it was the same friend that I just recently bragged about that was so nice that picked us up. It was him again. He's got a roommate. I actually met his roommate years ago before I was married, and reached out to him regarding the trip, and he put me in touch with his roommate, the one that picked us up. So that we stayed with him back then too. I don't believe he went to the Buccaneers game, but the other roommate, the one that I initially met, his family was the one that took us. He had season tickets, and they had pretty nice seats. I think they were like club seats that they were called or something like that. But yeah, pretty nice seats, good view. They were playing the Carolina Panthers, and this is back a ways when Cam Newton was fresh with the Carolina Panthers, going back a ways again. Um, and yeah, Buccaneers weren't super great at the time. I believe they had a 6 game losing streak and lost this game to make it 7 game losing streak. And really, I believe in 2013 they only won maybe a couple games or so. I don't think they won a ton, maybe 4, something like that. Again, have to relook at it. So Panthers won this one, uh, 31-13. And I remember when we got into the stadium. Well, actually, before we even got into the stadium, we were with the gentleman's family. We are going in there. One of the young guys. I don't know if he followed football a ton, but he kind of joked. So who are the Buccaneers losing to tonight? I thought that was kind of funny. Yeah, and then when we were getting in there, I saw these posters of the defensive backs, and I saw no fly zone. I've seen that a couple times. No fly zone, lockdown corners and stuff like that. I was like, okay, for a winless team, that's kind of funny. Cam Newton threw for 2 touchdowns. I mean, that's not a ton, but still, on a team that's no fly zone, you give up a couple touchdowns in the air. Uh, I don't know if you should have that as your name. But you know what? All joking aside, they've done a lot better since they've won a Super Bowl since then. Tom Brady came and helped them win a Super Bowl a few years ago. So Buccaneers, and they made the playoffs last year with Baker Mayfield. So back in 2013, they're not the greatest, but they've definitely gotten better since. Um, yeah, so we really appreciate our friends having the tickets and taking us to the game there. Um, and I really appreciate being able to see that Buccaneers pirate ship that they had there. Um, that was a night game. It was a Thursday night game. That was the day that we flew in too. So we flew in on Thursday. They had a Thursday night game against Carolina, and then Friday was a day that we kind of just hung out, didn't do anything, and then Saturday we went and saw the USF Bowl. So again, saw Carolina Panthers. They won, or excuse me, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers playing the Carolina Panthers. Panthers won 31-13 in that game. That was the final. 2 days later, we went back to the same stadium, Raymond James Stadium, and we got to see the South Florida Bulls because they share a stadium. There are um, some college teams that share a stadium with NFL teams. Not all of them. And in fact, there's not a lot, but there's some. USF Bulls is one of them. And Raymond James Stadium, along with the uniqueness of having that pirate ship there for the Buccaneers, it's also like a very symmetrical stadium. Uh, what you're seeing on one end, you see on the other end, and on the sides. They're all very similar. Um, and the one thing that you can kind of just know what end you're at is the pirate ship. So other than that, the rest of it is very symmetrical. Not all NFL stadiums are symmetrical. Um, for instance, Seattle has got like one of their ends is kind of goes up to a point, a triangle or something. I don't know what you want to call it. And they're all kind of different the way that they look. But in this particular case, with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Raymond James Stadium, it's a very symmetrical thing. That pirate ship kind of gives you an idea where you're going to be at. So we went to this game, and this time the roommate, the one that has been, bragging about picking us up and everything, he did go to this game with us. And very hot day, from what I remember correctly. They were playing the Louisville Cardinals, and USF was not a great team either. Uh, they had a two-game winning streak going into that game, but then lost and never won a game the rest of the season. And they only ended up having two victories that year. So I believe they came into that game like 2-4 and ended up 2 and whatever. Um, Teddy Bridgewater was the quarterback for Louisville at the time. He ended up throwing for 344 yards and 3 touchdowns that day. So yeah, he lit them up. The Bulls kicked a field goal in the first quarter and then never scored again after that. So the final on that one was 34-3. Yeah, that was a spanking. Louisville definitely handled their business that day. It was a business trip for them. They went in, took care of business, and left. We did get to see it during the day because the Buccaneers game was a night game. So it was kind of nice to be able to see the stadium in the day and to be able to get a clear look at some things. Night games are nice. Don't get me wrong. They can be definitely a cool atmosphere to be a part of. Um, in the daytime, though, you get a chance to actually see the building itself, which I appreciate. Take pictures, and I don't know. Sometimes the pictures come out better that way. Anyways, so once again, the USF Bulls were playing the Louisville Cardinals, and the Cardinals beat them pretty good, 34-3. Moving on to the final team, the Tampa Bay Lightning. Um, this again, similar to the Rays. This was after a cruise. Uh, if I get a chance to go on a cruise and catch a game in the same vacation, I'm good to go. Doesn't always happen, but if it's possible, I like to do it. This one, I actually, the cruise, this was December of 2023, went on the Carnival Freedom, and I did do a podcast on that as well as our stops. I got to talk about. Prior to that, I got to see a game. Now, this was kind of one of those things I was asking about, and that trip, the day before we left for the cruise, we saw the Orlando Magic. The day we got back from the cruise, I saw the Tampa Bay Lightning. That's kind of what I was asking. Should I combine podcasts to talk about the trip like that, or see Orlando, Tampa, or should I separate it where it's individual cities and or state? Florida, there's plenty of teams, different cities. I'll focus on one city. Um, Going forward, a state like Iowa that only has just two college teams, I'll just talk about that, even though they're in different cities. Anyways, so the Tampa Bay Lightning was at the end of that cruise, but we weren't out of Tampa. We were actually out of Port Canaveral, and my dad um, rented a car while we were there. So we ended up having his vehicle as soon as we were done with the cruise. We, got it in our bag. We were staying at my grandparents' house. They had a little condo down there we were staying at. Dropped off our stuff there, and then made the hike over from Orlando area. I say Orlando, but really Port Canaveral, which is about an hour away from Orlando. And my grandparents live on Merritt Island, which is right next to Port Canaveral, pretty much. Um, so we dropped off our stuff there and then took the trip out to Tampa. Maybe not right away, because Um, the game was a little bit later on, and we got out off the ship kind of early, so I don't think we went right away, but we did go. So it's it's about 2.5 hours, anywhere between 2 to 3 hour drive from there. Um, but that's doable. That's definitely doable, and that's what we did. So we went all the way out there to Tampa. We ended up parking in a parking lot. I thought it was a little interesting. We parked in there. They didn't quite give us the ticket. We had to walk and go to like a little kiosk area and pay there, and then we got to go. So a lot of times you get a ticket and then you pay on the way out. A little different, or just you pay. Hey, we're $20 here. Here you go, and they let you in. This was a little unique in that way. It wasn't too far from the arena. Um, Emily Arena is what it's called. I had the toughest time trying to figure out how do you pronounce this. Is it Molly? Is it Emily? Come to find out, it's Emily. Uh, the friend that picked us up, he confirmed it. Also Googled it just to kind of double confirm. And one of the best ways I notice it, it's like family, rhymes with family, Emily. I'm like, oh, okay, that's a good way of remembering it. Emily Arena. I think it has something to do with an oil company, a family's name that is an oil company or something to that effect. Not entirely sure, but anyways. So this was in December of 2023. They were playing the Dallas Stars. Now I was excited about this because the Dallas Stars was a good team. Tampa Bay's been a good team. They won some Stanley Cups recently. Dallas has been up there. So I thought, okay, this should be a very good game. My dad was excited about it too. This should be a good hockey game. It was Victor Hedman's 1,000th game. So that was nice. They honored him before the game started. They had a nice tribute to him, a video. I don't remember if there's any giveaways for him. If there was, we didn't get one. Maybe it was a bobblehead or something. If there was one, I don't believe there was, but if there was, we didn't get anything from him. Um, Victor had been with him quite a while, obviously 1,000 games, and that's numbers grown since then. I thought the video tribute was nice. Anytime a player can stick with the team that long, be loyal to them, they're loyal to him. That is nice. You don't always see that. So it was his night, and he, I believe, even got the first star of the game. Although I don't think he recorded a point or anything like that, but I think just in honor of him doing his 1,000th game, they made him first star of the game. And I think Vasilevsky was second star because he got the shutout. It ended up being a 4-0 shutout. Yeah, we were excited about that game, thinking, all right, two good teams going at it. Let's see it. 4-0 game. Whatever. It's okay. Um, I think that even snapped the 4-game losing streak that they had going. And it's fine that they won. Again, I was a Tampa Bay Lightning fan for one day. So, we were rooting for them. And what's funny was this was like my third straight time going to a hockey game, seeing that and it was the Dallas Stars. I saw the Dallas Stars in 2022, saw the Wings take on the Stars here in Detroit, as well as Tampa Bay. It was like three straight games with Dallas Stars. And I'm not even a Dallas Stars fan, except for that one night when we went back in 2022. I was it for one day. Um, anyway, so it was a 4-0 game. It was exciting. I really appreciated with them that because of the Tampa Bay Lightning, they did a lot of cool sound effects and video effects with lightning theme. Thought that was really cool. I mean, you can do a lot with that, and they certainly did. So, if you get to ever go to a lightning game, I think you'd be impressed by what they do when it comes to their effects. That they also have like this mascot, it's like a little lightning bug, and he wasn't far from our section. We saw him. I thought he was kind of cute, I guess. Um, and I'm trying to think. Did we get any? I don't think we got anything. Did we get anything to eat? I don't think we did. We were in the upper deck, and they did have food up there. Um, I believe we were on the side too. If I can pick something on the side, I will. It's always a nicer view. Yeah, I don't think we got anything to eat. Maybe we did. I can't remember now. I don't get food a ton at games, mainly just because of the high prices. I will occasionally, and if I do, maybe I'll bring it out. But it's not the reason I go to a game. I go to a game because I really appreciate seeing the building itself. They're all, they can be unique and sometimes like with Tropicana Field, that dome is kind of like tilted. You don't see that. Raymond James Stadiums has the pirate ship. Emily Arena has the cool lightning effects with inside. I guess that's not really much of a building thing. Other than that, they're just hockey arena. Um, More of a rectangle type of look to it. Yeah. But so I'm not really there for food. I'm there to see what the building itself, and then the team who plays in that building that calls it their home team, um, and see what a game is like there. And of course, the game itself. So I enjoy watching live events, enjoy watching sports, and you know, once again, the final score on that one was Tampa Bay 4 and the Dallas Stars 0. So 2 out of 4 games in Tampa that I saw were shutouts. The Rays won 2-0, and the Lightning won 4-0. USF almost got shut out. They only got a field goal. So both football teams lost, but the hockey and the baseball team won in shutout form. So I guess you could say 2-2 with Tampa teams. I actually do keep a list of teams I've seen, and I got a spreadsheet. I'll put the record on it, and um, yeah, yeah, because sometimes I'll see them in Detroit or other teams in other cities. So, anyways, I do appreciate you taking the time to listen. Um, Please feel free to reach out to me if you'd like to go to Tampa and or St. Pete, because I think again a couple of teams are in actually St. Petersburg. But if you'd like to go, please reach out to me at Jay's Paradise Travels, either on Instagram or Facebook. There's no apostrophe in that, just JAYS. Um, or you can reach out to me through email, j.paradise_travels@gmail.com. Be happy to look you up and try to get you to catch a game if you're a sports enthusiast like me. You love to go to games, different places around. I'd love to be able to help you to do it too. And as always, please feel free to share this podcast with others, like it, subscribe to the channel, and rate it. All those good things that podcasters need in order to keep their podcasts going. Definitely appreciate the support with that. So thanks again for listening. Hope you liked it. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something from it. And I will talk to you guys again another time later. Take care. Bye bye.